Hello all and welcome to our project Sentiment Analysis from Web Scrape Data. So now this is a multi-domain project. In this we'll be learning about how we can web scrape the data, or basically how we can take the information from the internet, and then we'll be using that data to perform sentiment analysis on it. I'll be telling you what sentiment analysis is and how we can perform that. So now, as written, during the course of this project, we will learn about how we can perform web scraping, then what is sentiment analysis and what are the different things we do in it. This project gives us an idea about how NLP is done with the help of machine learning. So now, what is web scraping? Now, web scraping, or also known as web data extraction, is data scraping used for extracting data from websites. Now, as heard from the name itself, web scraping, web means the web browser and scraping means to scrape or to take out. So, web scraping is basically taking the data information from the websites. So now web scraping software may directly use the World Wide Web using the Hyper Transfer Protocol or a web browser. Basically, they directly use the HTTP protocol or the www that we use. Now there are several different libraries present. Some of them are Beautiful Soup, Selenium, Scrapy, Python automation libraries. A Beautiful Soup is a library present in Python. Selenium is also a library of Python. Then we have Scrapy, and there we have several different automated libraries also. So these are the different things. Now in this project we'll be using Selenium. Okay, I'll be showing you what can we do with Selenium and how to use it. Now moving on, what is sentiment analysis? So now as you said that we have written something, okay, there's a paragraph written, and with this score, with reading that paragraph, you can identify what is the mood of the writer. Okay, what is the mood of the writer? So that's why the if the writer is written excellent, that means the product is nice. If the writer is written worse, that means the product is not good. So it is giving us the sentiment. Or if the person is writing I am very angry with you, so that means the word angry has come, the computer can understand, okay, the sentence it is in an angry mood, the speaker is angry. I am very happy with you, that means the speaker is very happy. So now by definition, sentiment analysis, also referred to as opinion mining, is an approach to natural language processing that identifies the emotional tone behind the body of text. This is a popular way for organizations to determine and characterize opinions about a product, service, or idea. So, okay, so these can be used by different product analysts and different chatbots or AI applications in your mobile phone. They use sentiment analysis as a way of extracting information or finding out results or feedbacks. Basically, we say. So now what will be your problem statement? So this is the natural language processing domain project, as you have understood till now. So now we have a data set which contains links from the sources where we'll scrape the data. Okay, now this data set I've taken from Kaggle only. So this data set contains links, and so you will be using Selenium to scrape data from those links. Then we will use a common directory to analyze data and perform sentiment analysis. So now you may not understand this by now, but you each and everything will be cleared when I'll go to the notebook section and tell you, or I'll perform the same thing. Now in this project we'll be performing how to do web scraping. Then on that web scrape data we'll perform some natural language processing techniques. So the finally what will be timeline of the project, like the step by step guide. So first we'll be importing and showing different libraries used. Then obviously we'll be doing the web scraping data pre-processing of that scrape data, then finally performing this sentiment analysis. So let's begin. Hello all and welcome to the notebook section of our project. So now in the introduction section we have seen that what is web scraping and sentiment analysis and what are the different things we can do from it. So now in the notebook section we'll practically impute or impose those things. So now as written, sentiment analysis, also referred to as opinion mining, is an approach to an NLP that identifies the emotional tone behind a body text. So as written, the timeline of the project I have already told you. First we'll be importing libraries, data sets, performing web scraping, data pre-processing of that web scrape data, then sentiment analysis. Now the very first thing is importing libraries. So as you have heard about the pandas and numpy, I'm sure. Okay, these are the two very most common libraries which are used in the data analysis. So I'll just write these are for data analysis. Okay, so now the important library is our Selenium. So now what is Selenium? Now the Selenium is basically a web Python library which automates the web scraping technique. Now if I just Google here, if I'll Google here, what is Selenium? Okay, what is Selenium? So Selenium is an open source umbrella project for a range of tools and libraries aimed at supporting web browser automation. Selenium provides a playback of tools for authorizing functional tests without the need to learn a text scripting language. So now I have earlier told you that there were several libraries. Okay, one is the Beautiful Soup, another one is Scrapy, then we have Selenium. So now in Beautiful Soup, what you have to do, you have to write a query, you have to write some scripting in order to do the operation, but Selenium automates that for you. Okay, the Selenium is basically an automation library which will do all the things in with the single command. Okay, with single command. So that's why here Selenium, and in this it is written web driver. So now I have see it is written here Selenium has different tools. Okay, Selenium has different tools for, so if from that the one tool is web driver. If I just go Selenium web driver, so Selenium WebDriver is a collection of open source API which are used to automate the testing of a web application. Okay, so now in this what we are doing is we are taking the data from URLs. Okay, so for that we have to read the data. We have to read the data for, so that, so there the WebDriver comes in. This WebDriver is a library or a tool in Selenium which will help us automate the things of web scraping through different UPI IDs. Okay, URL, sorry, different URLs. So now I'll write here web scraping automation, for web scraping automation. Now we have something called buy. Now what is buy? So now you suppose you have to import something or you have to scrape something. So this is basically buy is a tool under WebDriver. Buy is a tool under WebDriver which will, what it will do, which will create, or which will, let's say you create, give a condition. Okay, it is same to that condition only. It will just scrape data by ID, so it will scrape all those data in which we have given a certain ID. You will understand it also, but I'll just write it here for segmenting. For segmenting scraping. And the last one is Chrome driver manager. Now basically Chrome driver manager is to connect with our Chrome. Basically a Selenium use, or the API library use, have to search from somewhere. Okay, so it will, what it will do, it will search from the Chrome. So that's why we have this Chrome driver manager. If you'll just Google this also, then you'll see. Okay, so now this is a Chrome driver manager which will connect, or which will connect the Chrome, which will basically it will serve as an agent. Okay, Chrome will serve as a hosting agent, which will give us a platform, for which will give the Selenium a platform to run all the queries. Okay, so this will be her searching agent. We can also change this from Chrome to different web, like Firefox or internet browser, but that depends on different settings. Okay, we are using Chrome by default. So these are the different libraries which we'll be using. Okay, which we'll be using. I'll also write here the same. Is this is used for computation? For computation. Okay, I have written the use for all of these things. I am okay, all the libraries. So now, as I have told you how we'll be proceeding. So in order to proceed, we need some links. Okay, we need something to search. So we have a file called input.lxc. I'll just read it. Okay, PD, we have to run this. I'll just read it. So now these, as you can see, I have read, these are the lines. Now if I'll just say how many links we have, links dot shape, we have 170 links. Okay, 170 links, we have 170 URLs. So in this URL, there's a site called Black Coffer, and this different articles are there. Okay, so now on machine learning and NLP and all the data science articles. So what we'll be doing, we'll be scraping all of these things. Okay, we'll be scraping all these articles. So we have this ID now. We'll be reading this. We'll be using Selenium to scrape all of these information from this URL. Sound pretty interesting, right? Now, how we'll be doing this? We'll see in the next section. Hello all and welcome to the next section of the project. So now in the previous notebook session we have seen that what are the different libraries which will be used. We have seen we will be using Selenium, WebDriver, Chrome Driver Manager to do the web scraping part. We have also seen the link or the data set of the link which we'll be using. So now we have to do web scraping. Now before that the one thing also, when you'll import this, okay, when you'll import this, these libraries will not get imported directly. First you have to install these. So what you can do, you can write pip install Selenium and pip install web 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 driver manager. This is basically for installing Selenium, and this is for installing driver manager. Okay, so these two commands you can run separately, run in two different columns or two different lines. So these two libraries will get installed, then you can import them. Okay, so also you have to restart your kernel after installing this, because then only your data will read. This is Jupyter Notebook. The same will be also for Google Colab also. It's your way, in any of the thing you can run. Okay, so now the next thing is we have to set up our environment. Okay, we have to set up our drivers so that our Chrome, or it'll run for it, it'll look for it. So now we have something called, this is a basic this is a what a basically a kind of common procedure. What you have to do, you have to write webdriver.chrome drive manager.install. So now what it will do, it will basically install the Chrome driver manager. If the manager is, it is not, obviously the manager or the driver will not be present in your machine. So that's why it will say there is no Chrome driver for browser in cache. Then it will download the new driver, then it will store it in your system, then it will install it. Okay. So you have to do this. This is a mandatory command in order to read the data, in order to install the drivers for the same. So this is a common step. I'll just write here for installing drivers. Okay, for installing drivers. So this is for installing drivers. Now the main thing is how we will scrape the data. So now we'll make some very simple functions which will just help us in scraping the data. Now the very first function is to function to scrape data from the links. Function to scrape data from the links. So I'll just say define a scrape data. I'll just pass, it will take the link, the global driver. Now global is what something called a global variable. That is a oops concept from Python. The global variable is that you can access this variable. This is the global driver. That means the variable which I have defined here, I can this is the this is the variable I need to access. The Python will access this variable. That is a global variable, which means that it can be accessed from anywhere in the code. Okay, that's why I'm writing global driver. Then it will run this, then it will dot get link, and the link which will be there, this link, it will get executed, it will get link, then it will say title is equals to driver dot find element. It will say, okay, find these elements. Okay, this is the by x path. Now what I have written, by x path, so that means it will search by this path, by dot path, that is mean the basically the path of this URL. Okay, so it will just get all the contents. Then I'll just write driver dot implicity wait, that's the waiting time, that is 10. Then it will say return title dot text. So it will return all the data which will be available in that URL. I'll get my that data, okay, in the form of text. then I have to say save that data. So I'll just write another function called save data. Later I'll just find out or pass the scrape data. Then I'll say for data in scrape data. Okay, there will be many different files. Okay, because we have scraped many different links. So for that data, for one data, I'll say convert that name, the data of the URL ID, basically the URL ID which is present. Okay, the URL ID which is present, it will be formed in the it is in the form of data frame, right? So the URL ID which is present plus the text dot txt, the URL ID of that plus dot txt I am adding, it will convert it into string form. Then I'll say open that article and write that data in the form of text. I'll say open that and write that data in the form of text. Okay, so basically what it will do, it will open a new file and it will write all the different all the different data in the form of that. Okay, in the form of that, it will just write under the column text, okay. So these are the two functions. So now we'll be performing the operation. What I'll do, this is the data, basically this will be the list which will be created in there, which I'm talking about. Now I'll say for index row in link dot iter rows. Links is basically this data set. Then what I'm saying, I am basically running through this index in each row. For first index, first row, second index, this row, say third index, this row. Okay, third index, third row. So that's why how it will get iterated. So it will just iterate between the rows. Then I'll creating an item called dictionary. In that dictionary we'll be having the item URL ID. Item URL ID will be the URL ID of that row, this row. Okay, suppose if this is running, so this URL ID will be there. Okay, this URL ID will be there. And then the text will be what? The scrape data text, the scrape data text which we are having. Okay, the scrape data text which we are having, it will be get saved. So now what I'll do, the scrape data dot append element, the scrape data dot append element, or it will just append all the different data, it will just append all the different data into that element. Okay, into that element, then it will just save the file. They just save the file. Okay, so now we have saved the file, we have performed the scraping operation. I have already done that because it may take a lot of time to run this operation. So I have done this already. When you'll run this, now what it will do, we have the scrape data, it will get saved in your system, the root directory, it will be saved. Now what you have to do, you have to create a data frame from it. Now what I'll do, give that path from where the file is saved. Now for me, my file is stored in a folder inside files. Okay, the root folder, there is an import called files. In that my file is stored. So I'll just say from os.import list dir. Now what list dir is? List dir is a short form for list directory. List dir would list all the different files present in that directory. So basically my all the different text will be there, all the different text which are there from each URL, around 170 different files will be there. Okay, I'll just create a data frame with column file name and text. Then I'll say for file in files, I have different files. Okay, because 170 files are created from this. So file in files, I'll say open one file. Then I'll say read all the text from it, then I'll say replace the wherever this zero dot text is present, replace it with the common space or a single space. Okay, replace this with a single space. Then I'll say append all of this text into my content. And then I'll say I don't want the index, though I'll just say so no index will be there. Then what I'll do, I'll just sort the values based on the file. This is for pre-processing concept. If you want, you can sort the values based on the file so that the file will be sorted. Then I'll say convert it into CSV. So all my data frame will be converted into CSV, and I'll be having a CSV file called content.csv. Okay, this will be the file which I'll be having. I'll be showing you this file I have created for this. You can also create in the same way. It will work for you. So now this is the all file. Now if I want to see my file, I'll just go and see my file. So now this is my file. Okay, if I want to see my file here only, then I'll just go and go to my desktop. Go to my root CSV. I have content file. Okay, so this is the CSV file which has created. Okay, all these are the different things. Okay, these are the different things. So all the different things are created, and all the different files. Okay, these are the data which is written. If I just expand it, okay, see, expand it, so all the different things are there. Okay, it is giving me. So I have this, the text and the file name. I'll just close this. I'll say don't save, then I'll go to my library. So this is my data frame. Okay, I have my data frame, right? So now the very thing left is we'll have to do the data pre-processing. Okay, the data pre-processing for our basically the file. Okay, so that is the thing left before we can do the sentiment analysis. So what I have told you here, what we have learned, how we can scrape the data from the Selenium, and what are the things which are involved. I have told you, you can just you have to like run these commands line by line. It will take some time because it will scrape the data from internet. You should have a good internet connectivity. What will happen, your file will get saved, then you have to save, convert that file wherever your file is getting saved. Give that path to that library. Okay, give that path. Okay, so now just create a data frame from it, then name any name you want. I have named it content.csv. You can write any name from it. This type of file should have been made. So this will be the file. Then what we'll do, we'll do some data pre-processing in this in order to perform the sentiment analysis. So let's move on to the next. Hello all and welcome to the next section of our project. So now in the previous section we have seen what are the different libraries which will be required, and we have successfully scraped the data from these links, scraped the text from these links and stored it into a CSV file called content.csv. So now what we'll be doing, we'll be performing some data pre-processing. I just right here we'll be performing data pre-processing. So data pre-processing. So now what we have to do before basically before we perform the sentiment analysis, we have to adjust the data. Okay, this text files are not perfect, so we'll just do, or we'll just expect, or we'll just modify these files into a more common clean text. So the very first thing is what I am doing is I am creating a column called number of sentences. So now we have number of sentences. How we can do that? This is a very simple thing. I'll just say df dot apply lambda. Lambda is a command basically to where you have to define a small function. Okay, you don't have to differently define a function like what I'll do. I'll just for this I'll just usually define a function sentences. I'll just write sentences, then I'll just have to carry or give the certain data. Then I'll just say, okay, I'll just what I'll do then what I have to do, I have to return, I'll just say x, then I'll just copy the same thing and I'll just do all of these things. Okay, x dot split, and then I'll just say this. Okay, so I have to do all of these things. So but in order to that in order to save this, I'll just write lambda x dot, it will automatically apply this function. I've written apply. What it will do, it will split on wherever this dot is there. If dot is there, this represents the sentence has been ended. So what I'll do, I'll just take out how many splits are there. That will be my number of sentences for each file name. Okay, I'll just do that. Now if I'll see my df dot head, so number of sentence they are 28, 29, 77. Okay, so these are the different number of sentences I have given. So now what I have to do, I have to replace the short forms. Okay, these are several short forms present like can't, don't, won't, amn't. I have taken this from a dictionary. Okay, these are different short forms which can be done, which are present here. So what I'll do, I'll creating a function called short forms which will return all these things. Okay, you'll know why I'm creating this function, you'll get to know. So but in this, please see what I have done. I have done all these what we have done, we have written all the short forms with for doesn't, the short form, the form is, the short form is doesn't, and the original is dare not. Finna is fixing to, gimme is give me. So all of these different things. Okay, I've just created this. I'll just execute this. Okay, so now we have our different possible short forms which can be present in this. So now what we'll do, we'll just say, or we'll just now write a function to replace all these short forms and to normalize the data. So now what I'm importing re. This is basically a Python command, or this is basically a Python function which checks if a particular string matches a given regular expression. If I'll just write re, then I'll create some string. So what it'll do, it will check that if that string is matching into that data or not. And import string basically do all the string functions which are present in Python to get that. So now I'll just write a function. I'll just say define. I'll just say normalization, and then I'll pass the data. The data is this file. Okay, the data is these files. So I'll just say I'll convert all these things into lower format. Then what I'll say, if my the function is passed, if it is matching with this. Okay, if it is matching with this, that means, okay, if it is matching with this, replace it with this. Okay, so that is what I am doing. Okay, re means if it is matching with this or not. Then what I'll say, what I have to do, I have to remove some punctuations. Okay, I have to remove some punctuation. So it is a function called string dot punctuations. So what is this? If we'll just Google is, what is string dot punctuations? String dot punctuation is a predefined string module of Python 3. It contains all the characters as a string. Okay, it contains all the characters as a string. So for sim, so all different characters will be there. What I'll do for that, for the data where present, if that character is present, it will replace that character with a space, then what I am doing, I am getting my all the short forms which I have created the function called short form. Okay, I have created the function short form. I am just calling that function short form is equals to short forms. Then I am replacing this comma with this comma, very simple. Then I am splitting all those things. Okay, then I'm saying converted. I'm storing my things in a list. I'm saying short form word. If that word, because I splitted all the words. Okay, if that word is present in short form word, if word in short form, else word for word in words. Okay, I am just getting all these short forms and converting them. Okay, this may looks like a very complex thing, but if you'll just learn, or if you'll just read it or execute it few more times, you will understood it. Okay, what I'll do, I have created or replaced all the short forms. I'm saying if that short word is, that word is present in this my in this data, replace it. Okay, if in this data, replace it. So I'm just getting those. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm just joining all of these things. I'm just joining again. First I've split it, then I'm again joining, then I'm returning my data. So this is my normalization function. I'll just run this. Now if I'll see my df, if we'll see my df, all the different short forms are removed. Okay, all my different short forms removed, and certain things are also replaced. Okay, certain things are also replaced, like if you'll see. So now what we have to do, we have our file name, we have our text. Then what I'll do now, we'll just apply this function. Okay, we'll just apply this function. Now we'll see again. Okay, so now when you have to do, now what the things I've done, we first in this function, what we have done, we have converted all the things to lower. Okay, so previously these things somewhere in uppercase, now all the things are converted into lowercase, all the things are converted into the lowercase. Okay, so now how this has worked. Okay, so this is how it has worked. Now our data is much more clear. See, can, academia, research decision, all are these are in uppercase. This is all converted into lowercase. Okay, these are all converted into lowercase. Now what I'll do, what I'll do, so now we have this. Now our data is ready, or the various, the short, the less things, the things which were required, we have done, or we have done the pre-processing in our data. Now it is time to perform the sentiment analysis for our data. To perform the sentiment analysis for our data, that we'll be doing in the last and final section of a project. Hello all and welcome to the final section of our project. So now during the course of this project we have learned so many things. We have seen what are the different libraries used in data web scraping. We have worked with the Selenium library and we have extracted the data. Then we have added some data pre-processing techniques in our file. And then we have cleaned the data. So now it is time to perform sentiment analysis for it. So now for this analysis, what we'll do, we have a CSV file which is also present in Kaggle only. This is basically a kind of dictionary. When you'll see this has different words. So what is there in a dictionary? It has different words. Okay, it has different words, and then we have the meaning. So now in this has a word, this has a word, and for that word we have all its properties, like how many number of syllables are there, what is the, it is a weak model, strong model, if it is a negative word, it is a positive word, dot count, all of the different things. If I'll just find out how many words are there, around 86,531 words are there. This is a dictionary of 86,000, around 87,000 words. Okay, so now what we'll be doing, we'll be using this dictionary to basically perform analysis on our data. How? Let's see. We'll just assign positive and negative scores to our words based on the dictionary words. Like what we'll do, we'll first just create a list called positive, negative, uncertain. These three different analysis or sentiments. Negative means the it is in a bad tone, positive means that the sentence is in a positive tone, uncertainty, that means it is confused. Again I am doing the same thing. Guide, this is a data frame, I'll iterating through all the different rows. I am saying if negative is greater than 0, if the word is negative is greater than 0, then what I am seeing, negative dot append row word, I am appending that word. What I am doing, I am getting all the positive words in this list, all the negative words in this list, and all the uncertain words in this list. So what I'm doing, append that word in the lower format. I don't want in upper format, that's why I'm saying lower. The same for positive, if the word is positive, append it in the positive dictionary, and if the word is uncertainty, append in the uncertain dictionary. So it will attain all these things. So now what we'll do, we'll get all the different words. If I want, if I'll see pause, so see these are the different words which I have get. If I'll see neg, so these are all the negative words which are there. Now if uncertain, so these are the uncertain words which I have. Okay, so now we have a dictionary of different words. Okay, we have a dictionary of different words. So now moving on to our data frame. So this is our data frame. So now you might have understood what we'll be doing. We'll be taking sorry, we'll be checking each and every word if that word is falling in this dictionary, and if it is falling in under positive or negative, whichever dictionary list it is falling, we'll give that score. How? We'll just define two function, positive and negative score. I'll say first the score is 0, then I'm taking the positive text, I'm taking the positive list, I'm saying I'm splitting all the different words. Okay, I'm splitting all the words, then I'm saying if that for different each for each word, if that word is present in this positive list, if that word is present in this positive list, the score is 1, so I'm returning that score. So similarly in the negative, if that word is present in this negative list, the score is 1. So this is a very simple logic. Okay, now if I just create two different data frames, df positive score and df negative score. Okay, so now what I'll do, it will give me that score. Okay, you'll see. Oh, I have to just, I'll just write this. Okay, sorry. Positive score, negative score. So then if I see my DF, Just wait. So this is my positive score and this is my negative score. That means it has 4 positive words and 7 negative words. So now what do you think? If it has 7 negative words, that means the sentence or the mood of sentence is not so positive. Okay, so this is how you do. Now all the different parameters like polarity score. So now this is also a parameter which I have taken a formula from literature only. This is a score which is used in a net. If we'll see what is polarity score, what is polarity score in text analysis. So the key aspect of sentiment analysis to analyze a body of text for understanding the opinion expressed by it. Okay. So now what is polarity? Sentiment polarity for an element defines the orientation of the expressed sentiment. That is, it determines if the text expresses the positive, negative, or neutral sentiment. So basically, polarity is a kind of measure for positive and negative score. So this is its formula: positive minus negative upon positive plus negative plus 0.0001. Okay, so this is a common formula I've written just here. Then I'm creating a more column called word count. How many words are present? Very simple. I'll split it and I'll create a kind of split it with a space wherever it is split, and I'll count out the length. Then subjectivity score. This is also a certain parameter in text analysis. These are certain parameters which you see. If you see what is subjectivity score, subjectivity score. Subjectivity score. Subjectivity quantifies the amount of personal opinion and factual information contained. So it quantifies the personal opinion. Okay, well, this is a very logical cheese, logical thing that it will say it on the basis of positive and negative score. Positive score plus negative score divided by word count. So it will give us the subjective score, which will tell us the opinion. Okay, so tell us something about opinion. Then what to do? We have average sentence length. So this is a very simple. The I will divide the word count by number of sentence. It will give us the average sentence length. Then average number of words per sentence. Very simple. Word count divided by number of sentence. Okay, so now word count divided by number of sentence. If we'll see my DF, these are the different things. Number of sentence we have positive score, we have negative score, we have polarity score, we have words count, we have subjectivity score, we have average sentence length or average number of words per sentence. Okay, average sentence, average number of words per sentence. So now what we'll do, we have to find out what is the average length for a word. So what we'll do, we'll write a function average word length. Again, we'll split the words, we'll count out how many words are there, then we'll count the characters. Okay, we'll count the characters, then we'll divide total character with the number of words. This is a very simple logic, just have to see it once, you'll get it. Then if we are saying if the function is having any pronoun or not, we have written all the different pronouns which are there. I am saying result is equals to 0. I am saying re dot fit iter. Again, if re is to match, if any pronoun is present in my line, it will just implement the result by +1. I am applying these two functions for average word length in personal pronouns and average sentence length we have already done. Okay, so now we have our DF. So we have all the different things. Now this is a basics. We have done a basic sentiment analysis. Okay, we have done a basic sentiment analysis in which we have conducted all the different things like negative score, positive score, polarity score, subjectivity score, what is the word count. Okay, so these are the different things. So now if I want to merge, if I want to see what is the URL from this text came for, I'll again just link or add the column URL from a links dataset to this. Okay, so to this, and I'll just arrange the URL to the first. I'll just arrange the URL to the first. Okay, so now it is saying negative polarity score. Okay, the basically the word is the spelling is wrong only, so we'll just arrange after that. So now basically this is the different thing. Okay, this is our per data set. In this we have file name, we have its URL from which it came for, we have the text, and we have how many number of sentences that, what is the positive score, what is the negative score, what is the polarity score, all of these things. So now we have done a complete sentiment analysis on a data set with perfectly web scraping the data. In this data set. In this section we have seen that how we can web scrape the data, then we have performed sentiment analysis from it. So now I'll be providing you the links data set and this dictionary data set also. Then you can perform the same thing. I'll be providing this notebook also. You can perform the same thing and do some changes, any more changes. You can perform more analysis on the NLP section or the sentiment analysis. You can look up to the internet and find out what are different parameters which are also used, and you can experiment on your own. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.